Once at school, we abandoned her car and made a quick run to the entrance. Before we stepped through the door, Allie grabbed my arm.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah. I was mad more than anything else. Once I reach a certain level of rage, my brain just can't compute and everything shuts down.
Okay, well, don't dwell on it too much, okay?
Easier said than done, but I'll try.
I may be scarce this week. I'm going to do my best to talk to Spencer, but just... things are heating up at the agency.
That murder thing? Allie sighed and leaned closer.
I shouldn't tell you this, but 2 of our agents have vanished. They're assuming they fell victim to whatever is attacking people in the woods. They were on patrols out there and just never came back.
Holy... jeez.
Yeah, it's bad. So interns are going to be really busy.
They better not be making you...
They're not. It's fine. Please don't worry about me.
I'm worried. I'm definitely worried. We stepped inside and finally out of the rain, and Allie gave me a quick hug.
When the holiday is over, I will definitely help you figure all this out, okay?
Don't stress about me. You have enough on your plate already. I really wanted her to just have more time to commiserate, to freak out with me about all the weird things going on, to study with me, to answer questions. I wanted her to tell me all the things I knew she was holding back. But I couldn't tell her any of that. I didn't want her to spend time worrying about me right now.
Okay, well, you don't stress too much either, okay? No making yourself sick again.
I won't. She gave me another hug and we parted. Allie went to the office, leaving me to my own devices. I decided to drop some of my books and homework by my locker first. As I walked through the empty hall, my footsteps echoed quietly. So much was happening. I really needed to stop and put the pieces together. I hear you there, girl. The missing people and vampires. Elliot and Mark roaming around at night to solve that mystery. Me sleepwalking at night. Spencer being suspicious and following me around. Ugh. I paused, staring at the floor as I contemplated all the recent events. If I couldn't get Allie's help with the sleepwalking, then maybe someone else. Velos? No. I couldn't tell him. There was too big a chance I'd slip up and mention Elliot and Mark, and he was the one person who definitely couldn't find out about that. I swear, Grant, if this is you... He's like, did I hear someone say they need a psychologist to listen to their problems?
Excuse me, did you need something?
I started and looked up, realizing I was standing right in front of a partially open door. Grant Mitchell was looking out at me. I had apparently stopped right in front of his office. Well, isn't that just serendipitous? I want to look up something. Just bear with me a second. There we go. Yeah, that. I wonder. Grant Mitchell. Did you send out thought waves for me to stop in front of your office? No, sorry. Just got a bit lost in thought. He gave me a pained smile.
Okay, then.
He turned back to whoever was in his office with him as he shut the door carefully.
As I was saying...
Ugh. That guy. Maybe not. If he's already with somebody. I don't know. Unless he's sowing the seeds. I continued down to my locker, figuring I'd head up to the club after. Elliot would probably already be there. That brought a spontaneous smile to my face. Gah! I rested my head against my locker door, remembering the feeling of him hugging me. I let out a long, soft groan. I shouldn't be thinking about this sort of thing right now. Now who?
Good morning, Nora.
Ah! At the sudden voice right in my ear, I jerked my head to the side, slamming it into the locker door. I clutched my head and bent over, groaning.
Are you always this high-strung?
What do you want? I got a boy, alright? Just leave me alone. Please. Please. Please spare me for one more route, please. Mark.
I didn't mean to startle you.
I shot a baleful look over my shoulder.
It truly was unintentional.
I straightened, rubbing my temple. When I pulled my fingers away, they were tinged red. Ow! I looked at Mark suspiciously.
If you're expecting me to shove you against the locker and latch onto the side of your head, I'm afraid you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Well, a girl can dream. I'm not exactly disappointed to hear that.
It appears to be a small cut. There's a first aid kit in the club room.
Great. Why is it that lately, whenever I get hurt, one of you vampire types is around? Is this some kind of conspiracy?
Unlikely.
He frowned.
But I am curious about the other times you've been hurt when a vampire was around.
I shut my locker door. There's nothing worth telling, just minor injuries when Elliot happened to be nearby. He did assure me that vampires don't go crazy at the sight of blood.
He was right about something for a change. We don't. The bloodlust of modern film and literature is largely non-existent.
Largely?
There are people of all species who struggle with self-control.
That's true, I suppose.
At any rate, if I was able to startle you when I wasn't even trying, you must have been quite lost in thought. Over something you shouldn't be thinking about?
I shouldered my bag again and gave him a sour look, deciding not to answer that. I did my best to just muffle my thoughts. And how are you this morning?
As well as can be expected.
He tipped his head back, studying me seriously. Don't you dare read my mind.
I told you before that I only hear what you shout at me.
Stupid psychic vampires. His lips twitched slightly. Take that! He shook his head, and for the first time a full smile appeared on his face. I'm glad I amuse you.
Were you going out to the club room?
Yeah.
I'll walk with you.
But why, though? Huh? Why the sudden... Why the interest? What's the dealio, yo? We were silent most of the way up, but at the second flight of stairs, Mark paused and touched my arm briefly. He quickly pulled his fingers away and put his hands in the pocket of his jacket.
Elliot won't tell me what happened last night, but I know that the two of you were together.
So Mark really was out there. Spencer also knows about Elliot and me running around outside at night. But how much does Spencer really know about what's going on? There were 5 times that I knew of since we'd come back. Did he know about every single one of them? That first night, I'd seen a shadow in the woods. Was that him?
I can see the situation is more serious than I thought. I was only aware of twice that you had ended up outside.
Stop eavesdropping.
What's going on?
I laughed awkwardly and tried to sidle past him, but he closed off my path and backed me into the corner of the stairs. The expression on his face was serious, maybe even a little angry.
Understand that if something happens to you, it will almost definitely negatively impact me and Elliot. We both know and live near you. So if you were to fall victim to a vampire attack, we are going to have to deal with the repercussions. This investigation is already an inconvenience.
Well, I wouldn't want to inconvenience you with my horrific murder.
We are trying very hard to convince the agency this is a feral vampire, and not some upright member of the community gone bad.
Feral?
If you go missing, not only will it make it that much harder to convince them, but Elliot and I may end up under even more suspicion. Especially if your brother reveals we've been searching at night on our own.
Stop reading my mind! Mark pushed me against the wall, glaring down at me.
Then tell me what's going on so I don't have to.
Yeah, I would do that, except Elliot is kind of begrudgingly working with you, and I'm not on your route, so kindly step away, sir. Get away from me! I tried to shove him away, but he held me in place. This is harassment. I don't have to tell you anything. Mark leaned down and looked me dead in the eye.
You don't have to say it out loud for me to get answers. I've just been reading your surface thoughts as you scream them out. I can take a closer look if I need to.
Are you threatening me? Because you should know I'm not in a good mood today.
Because of your brother.
I put both hands on his chest and shoved him back. Or tried, anyway. He barely budged.
So even he knows you've been sneaking around at night.
It's not sneaking. I'm not even doing it on purpose. It's sleepwalking or something, okay? Mark leaned back, raising an eyebrow.
Sleepwalking? Since when?
None of your damn business.
Then Elliot knows because he probably saw you, since he lives next door. Your brother knows. Which means he's probably told Grant Mitchell.
Okay, I take it back. Maybe Mark is onto something. Team Mark, let's go. I might have hacked up with that choice. Although, if I had picked tell the truth, Nora may have only picked select truths instead of getting upset and just shouting out the truth anyway. I don't know. I'm rethinking that choice, though. Regardless. Team Mark, maybe? What?
You weren't aware they've been talking frequently?
No. And why would Spencer tell him that?
Grant Mitchell has always been suspicious of the Mysteries Club, and the school in general. It's why he and Velos don't particularly get on. It's not surprising he approached a student that also seemed suspicious of it all, and had an unusual history. If Grant and your brother know about your sleepwalking, they also most likely know about Elliot. And possibly myself.
Well, I am so sorry.
Haven't you tried to take precautions to keep yourself inside at night?
What precautions? If I can navigate myself downstairs safely, you can imagine that door locks aren't exactly a problem. And I haven't figured out how to tie myself to my bed.
They make handcuffs.
First, never say the word handcuffs to me again. Ever.
I mean, you could just hold on to that for one more route if you want to.
Second, I can't imagine trying to explain to my mother why I keep a pair of handcuffs in my room. That's not a trauma I'm prepared to inflict on either of us. I don't know, I think your mom would just be like, "Oh, darling, I didn't know you were into that kind of thing." I angrily pushed past him and headed upstairs. I stalked the rest of the way to the club, hoping he could hear every single thing I was thinking about him. Everyone else got to have their secrets, but if I had one, it was a problem. Yeah, I wasn't okay with that. Oh, hey, Danny, it's been, like, ages. Where have you been? As expected, when we arrived at the club room, Elliot was already there. Danny, too, which was surprising. I hadn't been seeing him much. Right?
Anyway, I need to go... Nora, are you bleeding?
That damn vampire nose.
Bleeding? You okay?
It's just a small cut. A flesh wound, one might say. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Elliot was watching Mark, eyes narrowed as he went to the cabinet for the first aid kit he mentioned.
What happened?
You needn't look so suspicious. I startled her and she hit her head on the corner of her locker. He brought the kit toward the sofa. Sit here so I can clean it. How about you give it to me so I can do it? You can't see it. Then I guess it won't get cleaned up.
Whoa. I can do it.
Mark glared at him and I glared at Mark. Stop arguing over my cuts, guys. Danny over here like, is there a vampire problem, or?
Is everything okay here?
It's fine. I snatched the first aid kit from Mark before he could protest and handed it to Elliot. Elliot looked between the two of us worriedly as I sat down next to him. I wasn't about to let on that Mark had shoved me against a wall and tried to bully information from me, but... ugh. So... angry. Elliot hesitated, then opened the box and rifled through to find a cotton ball and antiseptic. Holding my face gently, he moved my hair away and placed the cotton ball against the cut. I hissed softly.
Sorry.
It's alright.
I don't think I can put a bandage or anything on it. It's kind of right in your hair.
It's fine. I shot him a small smile. He returned it worriedly.
You sure?
Yep, no worries.
Anyway, I was about to head to the library to find Velos. Yeah. I know it's hard, but just be patient. It's going to get sorted soon.
It would be sooner if the agency wasn't being idiotic about the situation.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I don't disagree with that. But the distrust between your community and the agency predates all this by... a lot. That doesn't change the fact that ferals are definitely the culprits here, and they'd find them faster with our help.
Wait, what exactly are ferals? The three of them shared a look. I have my journal ready to write this down, by the way. So help me, if you say it's not something I should worry about, I'm going to smack your heads together hard enough to swap your damn brains. All three of you. Mark was the one who spoke first. They are a type of infected vampire with a degenerative neurological disorder that stems from the vampire virus spiraling out of control. They completely lose their humanity, become animal-like, attack people indiscriminately. There's that journal entry. Telepathy, numbing, shapeshift, illegal. There we go. Ferals are one of the saddest things I've learned about so far. Sometimes the vampire virus goes out of control when it starts making changes to a person's physiology. It causes strange deformities, but primarily causes a degeneration in their neurological function. Basically, they devolve into monsters. It's a scary thought, but also sad to think they used to be normal human beings. Is that like the Nosferatu type vampires, or...?
But the agency has its doubts that they're involved. They're incredibly rare, and the agency thinks there's evidence that there might be at least 2 killers on the loose right now.
2?
Grand Mitchell. Think about it.
The idea of there being 2 ferals here seems a bit hard to swallow. For them, anyway. But that is what's going on. Mark and I are pretty sure of it.
How?
The state of and location of the bodies, for one. They're not mutilated with weapons, but claws and teeth. Not animal ones.
I swallowed hard. I did not want to be thinking about mutilated people. but the agency disagrees.
Clearly. In their defense, the vampire community has used ferals as a scapegoat in the past, to cover up the actions of some perfectly sane vampires who stepped out of line. Just because the average vampire wouldn't go around murdering people and mutilating their bodies doesn't mean there aren't criminals out there who would. In that regard, they're no different from humans.
Which, again, does not change the current situation. Most vampires, you'll notice, do not have claws. Except when they transform, potentially.
Most. In their human forms. Look, I have every confidence you and Elliot are right. But there's no real evidence, and the agency isn't going to budge without it. I've been begging Velos to reinstate Elliot as an intern because suspending him is outright stupid. And, by the way, he completely agrees. But his superiors don't. Mark, if your parents were here, I'm sure they could work this out. As it is, there's no one in your community the agency trusts enough to just listen to them. Especially not with some of the history they have. It wouldn't be the first time a vampire in this town decided to...
I am well aware of the history here, Danny.
I'm sorry. I know you are. Look, even if the agency needs some convincing, Mark and I can definitely find the evidence they need if we... No! I've told you already. Running around on your own is just going to cast more suspicion your way. Do you even know how it's going to look if you two get caught?
Uh-oh.
Elliot, please. Just wait. Wait for them to finish their investigation and find the culprits on their own.
How many more agents do you think they'll need to sacrifice before that happens? Danny winced. You know as well as we do the reason our community insists on handling ferals ourselves is because we're best equipped to do so. They are not normal vampires, and the agency is never going to catch them if they keep treating this case as if the culprit is just a normal part of our community.
If they would just back off and let us... They won't, and you know it. If not because they don't believe it's a feral anyway, then because they want to get their hands on one for study. Ferals are like a dirty secret the agency has never gotten a good look at. Half the people I've talked to don't even think they're real.
You've clearly been speaking with the wrong people.
I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm saying the whole situation is just frustrating.
To say the least.
Look, I'm going to keep trying to talk to Velos. But please don't do anything stupid until then. Yeah. No stupid plans here. I'm serious. I know, okay? I know. Okay. I'll catch you later.
He gave me an apologetic smile and waved as he headed into the library. Awkward, heavy silence descended on us. Well then. So those were the kinds of conversations they were usually having when I wasn't around. That was pretty heavy stuff. I'd been wondering why Elliot was partnering up with Mark lately. Well, I guess he's kind of stuck. I guess I could see why now. Multiple killers. No wonder Mark was so worried about people knowing he and Elliot were roaming around together after their curfew.
Oh, I got you something.
Huh? Elliot produced a cup with a plastic lid and handed it to me. To my surprise, it wasn't coffee. Hot chocolate?
It seemed like it might be a chocolate kind of day.
I snickered softly. It's that easy to tell.
Well, I spent a few years with a single mom. I learned the signs.
I see. Your master has taught you well, young apprentice. He grinned and picked up his own cup. I took a careful sip, and thankfully it had cooled enough that I didn't scald my tongue. It was also quite good. Elliot, I've never asked you what you usually get.
Aw, just coffee.
Anything in particular?
Nothing fancy, really. Usually just Americano.
Mark, apparently, is more of a tea drinker.
Ah, I did not know that. Not that I ever especially cared for you to find out. I never especially wanted to find out either, to be honest. I mean, not that I particularly wanted to avoid finding out. I just never really cared either way. Ah, thank you for that clarification.
These two definitely don't get along, do they?
In any case, I have heard coffee can stunt one's growth. Have you ever...
No. Nope, my growth was not stunted. Don't even go there. Mark smirked at me, and I resisted the very strong urge to kick him in the shin. He would deserve it.
Anyway, I was thinking about what you said in the hallway. Have you considered this sleepwalking habit of yours is related to your being Fae?
Elliot shot me a confused look. I didn't willingly answer him. I yelled it because I was upset. Just so you know. I had insisted he stay quiet about it. I suppose he was probably wondering why I told Mark. After last night, he was suspicious. I shot him a glare. He insisted I tell him.
So, have you?
Of course I have. I'm not stupid. I've even factored it into my research, but I haven't come up with anything. Elliot's been helping me look.
Then I should help as well. That's not necessary. As I told Nora previously, if something happens to her, it'll be bad for both of us. It would be better to have 3 heads working on this rather than just 2. Especially considering that one of those 2 is yours.
Oh, shots fired! I was just about to say, would you be saying the same thing if the roles were reversed, but now I know, nope.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh my god, stop! I get it. If I die horribly, it'll terribly inconvenience you both. I'm trying to figure it out, okay?
What exactly happens when you have one of these sleepwalking incidents?
I don't know. I mean, I go to sleep in my bed like usual, and then at some point, I sort of become vaguely aware I'm asleep. But I can tell I'm not in bed. I can tell I'm moving around, walking. It's usually cold, but everything is muffled. It's like being wrapped in a dark blanket or something. I can tell reality is out there, but I can't quite reach it. I can usually hear myself talking, muttering, though I'm not usually sure what I'm saying. It's almost like I'm just driven somehow to look for something or find something, but I don't know what I'm looking for. And then I just wake up all the way, and that's it.
Strange.
You think?
Come to think of it, I did hear you muttering to yourself that first night I saw you. I couldn't make out what you were saying either, though. It sounded almost like singing. Or maybe a poem. Your research hasn't turned anything up thus far.
If it had, I wouldn't be sitting here all confused about it, would I? I wouldn't be dealing with my stupid brother and school psychologist stalking me around either. I wouldn't be dealing with any of this.
Whoa, hey. Wait. School psychologist? Grant? What about him? You weren't aware that her brother has been dealing with him? Well, no. This is why you're useless for helping with this situation.
Ow! My eye twitched as they started up with the bickering. Again. I'm still, like, really confused why Mark is insistent on making a play here. Is it just because, like, Elliot's a vampire and he's like, Well, look, if she's gonna fall for a vampire, she should fall for the superior choice of vampire. So I'm getting in on this. Mark, please stop. Trying to tune them out, I reached into my bag for my journal. Oh, what? Uh-oh. It's there. I mean, according to this, it's there. I picked the bag up and rifled through it, unable to find it. Did I leave it at home? I might have. I'd been a bit scattered, all things considered.
What's wrong?
Did Grant snitch it from you when you were lost in thought? Oh, I think I just left my research journal at home. I was going to write down some stuff, but I guess I forgot it. Or maybe I put it in my locker by mistake earlier.
Did you hit your head harder than I realized?
No, thank you very much. What, you've never forgotten something at home by mistake?
No. Vampires have excellent memories.
Bleh. Of course they do.
Our lifespans are rather long. We would be in trouble if we didn't have excellent memories.
Well, excuse me, but I am just a mere mortal over here.
It's okay, Nora. Not all vampires have excellent memories. Just the superior ones, apparently.
Oh my god, that's totally what this is. Can you two knock it off? Jeez.
What topics have you been researching lately in regards to the sleepwalking?
Anything to do with fairies and sleeping, sleepwalking, amnesia, or anything that seems similar.
And you found nothing?
I found one thing that mentioned amnesia and faint memories of hearing beautiful music. Nothing about sleepwalking, though, so I don't think it's related.
What was the topic?
If I recall, it was in relation to something called a crimble, which is a type of changeling.
A changeling? What's that?
It's when the Fae steal a human baby and raise it in fairy. In the baby's place, they put a fairy child that is then raised by the human family. In the case of crimbles, if the family is able to get their baby back, they don't remember their time in fairy. They just have a faint memory of hearing music. But even though I do have some past memory loss, and I have memories of music when I wake up, it doesn't really seem to have much other connection.
Besides, if you were a changeling, that would mean that there's another Nora somewhere.
I suddenly remembered what Spencer had said earlier about how I wasn't his real sister. As if he thought there was another Nora somewhere, a real one. Elliot, whether by chance or some sort of coincidence, echoed what I was thinking.
Well, the real Nora, I guess, since you'd be...
He trailed off before finishing that. I think the look on my face must have been a bit weird. A fake. I'd be a fake. An imposter. Just like Spencer said.
Nora, are you okay?
I just...
Elliot, you are an idiot. Why are you even still here? I have every right to be here. As I said earlier, this isn't a private issue since I'm likely to get dragged into it if something happens to her. Something happening to her isn't a problem just because it might involve you. But that's the question I was answering. If not for that, I wouldn't be here. What are people to you? This is a classmate you're talking about. Shouting is hardly necessary.
You know what? I'm gone. I'm having an existential crisis. I sighed inwardly. The arguing wasn't going to stop, was it? No, I mean, it's not going to stop till you definitively pick a boy so that one of them just leaves. And you have to pick Elliot. I wonder if this is how people feel when they listen to me. Then again, I wasn't usually trying to aim snark at others in a directly insulting way. Honestly, Elliot was perfectly likable, so I had no idea why Mark couldn't get over his snobbery and see that. If he wasn't trying to provoke Elliot, they probably wouldn't be arguing. And if all I was to him was an inconvenience, he could go jump in the bog. Yes. I didn't need another idiot male following me around demanding answers from me. Damn. Yeah, you heard me. I said it. I thought it. Mark gave me a sidelong look, but I just glared. If he heard that, so much the better. It's time for class. You two can keep arguing if you want, but I'm leaving. I left them there, walking swiftly into the hall.
Nora! Nora, wait! Please, wait!
He thundered down the steps behind me and caught my arm.
I'm sorry,
There you are, Momo! I was wondering where you were. It's been ages. We both looked up, startled. Brenna was standing at the top step, watching us. Before either of us could answer, the first bell rang. Mark calmly stepped around her and came down the steps. He had my book bag in hand. Damn you.
I believe this is yours.
Thank you. And thanks for the hot chocolate, Elliot. And for this morning.
I'll walk with you.
No! I need to talk to you, Momo. Before he could get up, she practically wrapped herself around him and held him down. Well, good luck with that.
But...
just for a few minutes.
Oh. Then I'll walk with you.
No, thank you. Can you guys give me some freaking space? Holy freaking cheeses, man. I hurried down the stairs alone. I just needed some room to breathe. All this stuff was just starting to feel like it was suffocating the life out of me. Mark being overbearing and rude and trying to edge in on Elliot's turf wasn't helping at all. But neither was the rest of it.